Do 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 do, splish splash. I was taking a bath. All about a Saturday night. What's going on, guys? And welcome back to the Edison Club podcast. I'm your host, Mike, joined by co-host Justin Morgan and the newest member of the Edison Club team, Nick. I'm not going to. How do you say your last name? Actually, I'm not going to attempt it.
It's Duchesne.
Duchesne. Nick Duchesne. Yeah. So, questions already being answered.
They're beautiful animals.
What's a beautiful animal?
A Duchesne, the dog. That's a Dachshund. My bad.
Oh my God.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. All right.
Sorry, I'm just gonna drown the bathtub now.
Anyway, I'm more known online. People probably know my moniker, Rail My Dad.
Yep. Quite the username.
Yeah. Sorry to say, but maybe we'll see someday. It'll be Edison Club Nick. But most people know me. If they know me, it's probably from playing Goat. But Rail My Dad is what people know me from online.
This is YouTube, and you are no longer monetized.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Sorry, Mike.
No. If you guys watched the video that I uploaded yesterday before yesterday of my 2013 deck, if that didn't get me demonetized, then this definitely won't. That video was unhinged.
I watched that entire thing.
I got you banned from Konami.
Yeah, dude. I couldn't believe it. I actually, when I went back, because like a lot of people think that I rehearse those, but those are like cold takes, you know, like I have seen that video before, obviously, but it's probably been 5 or 6 years since I watched it, because I actually do not enjoy watching videos of myself very often. I find them very hard to watch. But yeah, that was complete genuine reaction on that. If you haven't watched that video yet and you're listening to this, go check it out.
Tell me about it, dude. It's hard to go back and edit my OnlyFans stuff.
Yeah. It's 2013 Diva Inzector Zero, that video, and you won't regret it. But basically, today we wanted to just talk to Nick, see how he's feeling about the format. I started playing Goat a while back, and eventually ended up branching off into Edison. So, how has your Edison experience been so far? Have you played it like any notable tournaments or anything like that?
Yeah, I probably got into Edison maybe like 6 months ago, because of you. So I saw a couple people from the Edison Club at my locals and said, you know what? I see a lot of people playing this on paper around me, and Goat is awesome. Like, that's my first retro format and everything. But the amount of support that I've seen for like on paper people playing Edison and doing events with Switches and PS5s and cash tournaments and stuff, I said, you know what? I am going to dip my toes in, and we'll kind of feel it out and see how I like it. And you luckily took me under your wing and kind of taught me everything I know so far in the past 6 months. And I've been really, really enjoying it. So I just completely dove in. So it's been amazing.
Yeah, you were sending me your replays and like your deck lists and your theory thoughts and everything that like every day, and I was just like, this guy really like wants to be in the format, really wants to get better, really wants to learn. And that was a big reason why when we started looking for like a new member, you were like the first person I thought of, because I was like, Nick is like coachable, he's trainable, and he listens. So like you're already basically set up for greatness, honestly.
I hope I can actually do well in some upcoming tournaments, so I can see if I can actually put those skills and all the knowledge I've learned to the test. But the amount of stuff that we have around here in our area of North Carolina specifically is insane. It's like almost too much of the amount of Switch tournaments, PS5 tournaments. Like, there's something happening on the same weekend, 2 different spots in North Carolina, that I wish I could just teleport back and forth between them.
Yeah.
But there's a ton of stuff going on with Edison, so that's definitely a good reason for me to jump into it, because there's not a lot of stuff like that for Goat. So I'm like, you know what? Let me try Edison, see if I like it.
It's North Carolina is definitely like insane when it comes to the Edison scene. Like last summer, actually all of last year, like starting in the spring, it was almost every single weekend that like Justin and I would go to like some kind of tournament. and play, and it was so much fun. But it actually, we did it so often, it kind of got to be a little exhausting after a while.
I
I
can
will
see
say,
that,
I will
but
say
at least it's not stale.
Right?
like it.
You know,
Yeah.
I feel like though, like if we wouldn't have done that, we wouldn't be where we are now, as far as like the players that we are.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree. I definitely agree.
I've
We
done it.
we
Yeah,
traveled and played against so many good players and so many just different players last year. Like that just really added to our experience game, and I think really took us to the next level. So you basically said that goat format was your first retro format. Do you have a preference between the two? Do you like Edison more, or do you still like goat more? Or
I'm honestly, I'm not just saying this because I'm on an Edison podcast, but I'm still completely 50-50 split. Like if somebody wants to jump on a game with me online and they're like, "Oh, do you want to play Goat or Edison?" You might as well just toss a coin because I
yeah,
love them both so much. Um, I'm just playing more Edison on paper nowadays because the amount of actual high level events that they have going on.
right,
I do play Goat every single Saturday though, at a minimum, because we have Goat locals at my locals. So that's the only paper I usually play besides with my wife, because luckily she plays Goat with me. So that's been a really cool thing, getting her into the old format. But she won't learn what a synchro summon is, so she's completely against Edison. She's like, nope, just Goat. I don't want to learn anything else.
yeah.
But
She's
it's
already
definitely a toss
a
up.
true Yugi boomer, not wanting to
Oh
learn
yeah,
what synchros are. I am
yep.
finally dipping my toes into goat format. I stayed out of goat for the longest time, simply just because none of the decks were really interesting to me until I
Mm.
heard that relinquished was a thing, and I was like, I love blue decks. I really wish that there was a blue deck in Edison that was actually good, or Tengu. I mean, I guess Herald, but I'm a big fan of ritual decks, so that's
It tops too. It's pretty
yeah,
good. And people think Goat format is a tier 0 deck. Everybody's like, "Oh, it's all Chaos Turbo, it's all Chaos Turbo." Chaos Turbo is absolutely beatable. I beat it all the time. There's a lot of good decks in Goat. So there's way more exploring to do. There's way more stuff that's going to top. It's not stale, it's not tier 0, which is something that I also really really loved about Edison. When you first told me, "Oh, there's probably 20 viable decks you can play." I thought you were exaggerating, and when I dove into it, I saw, okay, the best decks are probably Blackwing, Vayu, and Frog Hero, but there's probably 10 other decks that are A tier that are also
yeah.
extremely good, that can still win, that can still top. And that's like the biggest driving factor for me, is having a format that's not stale, because I love playing different decks. I love seeing different decks like throughout a tournament run. That's been the most fun part so far.
Yeah, it's definitely nice for the format to be 14 years old and for people to still kind of be innovating and still trying new things. Like most recently, I was a big fan of the Gladiator Beast list that played Hero Signal with Test Ape. I really
Yes,
thought that
so
was
cool.
like peak innovation. I thought that was so
Shout out
cool.
to Spiral, because I think he's the only person that really tried that, and it worked. It was different than every other variant, but he got it.
Yeah. Yeah, that was super cool. And it was like at a time too where I thought maybe Edison had kind of like ran out of that kind of thing. Like people weren't really innovating anymore. Seemed like most people were just playing Vayu Turbo, but
Hmm.
that was really nice. So we're looking kind of onward. I guess our next big event is going to be YCS Raleigh here in just a couple weeks now. How are the both of you feeling about that tournament? I think Justin's actually going to play advanced format at the
yeah. So
YCS.
I play all the formats. I play Goat. I love Goat. Before speaking on the topic of Goat and everything, Nick, I'll tell you this, man. I picked up Goat a couple years ago. I didn't play like any kind of competitive Goat outside of locals and stuff, but I took it to a side event last year at one of the YCSs and actually played two different pods and made it to the finals in both pods. I lost to Chaos Turbo in the first pod, then I lost to Chain Burn and the
Library
second.
FTK, right?
Yeah, so like chain energy is like a real card. so
Yep, I remember. I
um,
was there. I was in the pod next to you, I think.
oh my god, yeah. So I took Reasoning Gate, which that deck, if you draw Reasoning, like if you just draw good, like you just win, you can beat anything.
Hmm.
And but like when it like my go to deck now is just Warrior because Warrior just has that inherently good matchup against Chaos. and a warrior can just play so many like really good utility cards that Chaos Turbo really can't play. So I'm playing Warriors right now, and I was actually going to take it to the GGP in Atlanta, but some stuff came up. So, but I have the whole deck built and everything. So I'm really enjoying Warriors right now. Relinquish is fun too. I just feel like it's no offense, Lloyd, it's just like a worse Chaos Turbo. But like the deck is actually it's pretty fun. It can do some really cool stuff like Yomi and Book of Moon and things like that. So um, I still think the most fun deck is Phasers. But yeah, that obviously Edison. I love Edison Tengu, but yeah, I'm playing advanced at the YCS because I
I'm
love to
surprised you're not judging. I think besides that, the goat pod that I saw you at Nats, that was like the first time I've seen you playing. Every other time I've been to an event, you're judging.
and I'll tell you why that is too. I actually like I'm a tier not tier two. It's I have passed like my PC one and then like the RC one like for Konami Judge.
Mhm.
So I can like judge events and things like that. But I have more fun like judging like the Time Wizard events just because
Mm.
like it's I don't know it's just something I'm like more familiar with I guess just because I've been like grinding it for the past couple years. But I sort of got burnt out on playing Edison for a little bit and I wanted to like dabble in like the judging aspect of it and sort of pick up like my skills there a little bit. So I work like a lot with Diego and Big Boy Gaming. That's who I judge for mostly and stuff. And if I'm not judging any events that's not ran by Big Boy Gaming currently at the moment. But I will be judging for the advanced tournament and the Edison tournament on that Friday before the YCS.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
that's
Yeah.
the next
Yes.
big thing I'm looking forward to.
So
The
yeah,
Let
19th.
me go ahead and plug that. If you're going to YCS Raleigh, you definitely need to check out Big Boy Gaming. He is holding it's $500 cash tournament for both formats, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So
$500 cash tournament the night
with
before the
yeah,
YCS.
guaranteed. So the more people
Yeah,
that show up, the more money. And we witnessed that at the 3v3. He actually put in more money into the prize pool.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but let me tell you about a benefit of judging too.
yeah. And that's
And
for
I
Edison
really
and Advanced. Just want to point that out. Edison and Advanced format. There'll be an event for both.
yes, and just keep an eye on their Facebook page because he's going to post the times. But it'd be $20 entry for each format. So be something fun to do, get some test practice in, or just sort of see what everybody might be playing the next day. Hint, hint. Um, so something that I've learned from judging, which is like really beneficial to me, is not only do I get to see like all the different decks in action, which is really cool because we play with like a pretty experienced group of players, so I don't really get a lot of calls at these events. And when I do, like it's your typical like Brio target kind of stuff, and it's never really anything too complicated, right? But you get to watch all these decks in action, but you also get to watch how each player plays those decks. Each player has their own play style. Like you get to watch like these really high level players in action and see how these different decks work, and you sort of like it benefits you too, right? Because like when you end up playing against these people, it's sort of like you already have played against these people because you watch them play other people. You know, like their bluffs, that kind of thing. And like it's I know it sounds silly, but like it's legit. It's true.
It
And
doesn't sound silly at all because
yeah, like
when that's the
yeah.
best part.
So the same people show up to these big events for Big Boy Gaming, and that's the ones I judge. So I've judged like 3 or 4 events already, and they're relatively big. And so like watching these big name players come and like you walk by the tables and like you see what they're playing, and you just stop and you watch the game for 3 or 4 minutes, right? And first off, like you learn interactions that you never would have thought of, especially in like a uncalled, soft format. But you also just get to see the play style of these players and stuff like that, which is really cool. So I take away, a lot of knowledge just from judging the events, and sometimes more than I would if I were playing the game. So that is really really cool. But yeah, I've got some cash playing Heroes and Edison, playing Heroes and Tengu. I've topped both of those cash tournaments with Heroes, and I have never really done well at a YCS to be truthful. So I would like to do well with Heroes and sort of put a cap in my feather for each of those formats.
Yeah, that would be insane if you actually went and like just killed it
Bro,
with heroes,
bro,
and you
dude, if
just
I'm
be
in day
like
two,
that. That would mean though, like at this point, like you just have to play heroes and goat You have to just play Thunder
Listen,
Giant deck.
listen. It's possible, but it's not great. Like I've played it online, and you're like, oh, I have a Thunder Giant set up, and then like you run into a Sakuretsu armor and you're dead. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
but it's
That would be
doable.
cool though to play heroes in every single format. I'm really looking
That would be
forward to
legendary.
Raleigh. I need to go on a rant here for a minute. Like I'm still salty about YCS Richmond. Granted, I am so proud of myself and I'm so happy about my finish there. But it really sucks when you can see the finish line and you trip and fall before you get there.
Okay,
And
I'm going to interject right here, dude. First
okay,
off, you lost to a world's competitor. There's no shame in that, and it's not like you completely got obliterated. Like it was a really good back and forth game.
yeah,
But I feel like out of everybody that's going, you have the most. Like you have to do so. Like the goal is to do better than you did last time. You
yeah.
have to do better than a fourth place finish. That's a lot to like. That's a lot to prep for.
It is. It is. I have this thing where it's like I've been so close to the finish line. I just want to get there so many times. Like at Richmond, I lost to Tom Mack twice, which like you said, he's been to Worlds. I mean, the guy's actually insane. But I've definitely beat myself up over my loss against James Ark so many times because it's like for context, I played Christius Warren, obviously, and he was playing Fish OTK, and I orange lighted a Substitute combo when I should have just waited for Coelacanth, and I lost to him in game 3, and I always wanted to know how that game would have played out had I just held that orange light for Coelacanth, because that was top 4. So like I win that and I go to the finals. And
so, but did you have a way to get over the do block?
Well, you see, the thing about the Christia Sworn match versus Frogs is like you really just don't even care about the dupe block, you know, because like I had orange light for any kind of like push that he was going to make, but I could just sit there and mill my deck, and eventually I'll either hit Celestia or Beckoning or JD to be able to kill his dupe block. So I really don't even know why I was so worried about the dupe block. I felt
You're
like
getting impatient.
I was kind of getting impatient. Yeah. I felt like I was getting impatient, but also too, I kind of felt like in that moment, like his hand was very like full of frog cards versus like having like his other stuff, like his Coelacanth stuff. So I thought that I could like, you know, gas pedal him enough to where if I just left him on a blank field, I could get there. But unfortunately, it was definitely a mistake to orange light there. But that's what I mean. Like I was so close to the finish line. Like it would have been such a great story to win the giant Minerva with Light Sworn. You know, like
Oh yeah,
it would have been crazy. But my redemption arc is definitely got to be at Raleigh, because like after Richmond, I got 3rd place. I think it was 3rd or 4th place at the BBG 5K, and those events were pretty close together. So I've been on a little bit of a hot streak, and I definitely want to do my best at Raleigh, and winning is definitely top priority for me there.
yeah. And we got a Switch. Are we going to the Switch tournament or are we going to the PS5 tournament on Saturday?
I think I'm going to the Switch tournament. It's just closer, and I'm
It is a
basically
lot
going
closer.
to this to like I need like at least one little test run before the YCS, because I haven't played since the last 3v3 like a month and a half ago. So I definitely need to kind of just like shake the dust off and kind of get back.
Mhm.
I wish you guys the best. I'll be sitting out this tournament. I'll be going to locals this Saturday to play against the tier 0 meta to see how I fare. But after the YCS, I'm going to pick back up Edison, pick back up Gaia, and play some Gaia. Maybe incorporate some new cards into the deck I've been playing and everything, and just get
Yeah.
back into the Edison grind again.
Yeah, I really wish that like I could stay home Saturday and play in I Am Nerds Edison Elementals tournament that he's having. It's you know,
Oh, I
you
saw
can
that.
play any cards, but you have to only play one archetype, or I'm sorry, one attribute, and that goes for your main, your extra, and your side. So if you play water, every monster in your deck has to be water everywhere, or light, or earth, wind. and I cooked up like this really spicy list for X Sabers I wanted to play, but I have to prioritize like the prep for Raleigh, unfortunately.
Is he allowing you to play dark or light, or are those out of the equation?
You can play
Because I
any
remember seeing the
attribute.
thumbnail for it.
Yeah, you can play any
Okay.
attribute. It just like every card in your deck has to be the same attribute.
Oh, easy pick. Black Wings.
Yeah.
Next.
I think Black Wings, Light Sworns, and X Saber is just going to be so good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
'Cause you
there
have to
was a
look at- you
catch
have to
to
look
it.
at-
Black Whirlwind. What are the 3 ban cards? Black Whirlwind, Christia, and there's a third one.
Oh, he's banning specific cards
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, he
So,
banned
and
3
another thing,
cards
too-
for it.
Oh my
So,
god.
Another thing too, Nick, is you have to look at the extra deck. Like when it
Mhm.
goes to Black Wings, you're limited to like Arm Wing, Armor Master, and then like your Dark and Dragon, pretty much. So
Yeah.
like, I mean, those are all 3 really good cards. But I think like when it goes to X Saber has Goya Guardian, they have Hyunlei, they have Arabellum, they have Gothams. I mean, like they have.
You have a lot of ways to problem solve from the extra deck just because of Hunley kind of being able to blow up back row is like really nice.
Yeah, I guess they have a lot more utility. That's fair. I didn't know he banned specific cards for it either, but that
Yeah.
makes it a lot more fair because then obviously Black Wings would just blow everybody out of the water probably.
Yeah, I had this list where basically, obviously, every card in the deck is Earth, but you play X Saber Garsum, which is the one that no one plays. But if he's destroyed by a card effect, you search any X Saber monster. So you play this old trap card called Generation Shift, which basically says you destroy a monster you control, add 1 from deck to your hand with the same name. So you can search another Garsum, and then the Garsum will trigger and search Fall Troll. And you can do stuff like XX Saber Ragagura adds back from grave but doesn't target. So you can do like as long as you have X Saber in your graveyard, any X Saber, you can do like Fall Troll, summon Ragagura, effect to add, chain the Generation Shift, destroy the Fall Troll, search a Fall Troll, and then add back the Fall Troll you popped with Generation Shift because Ragagura doesn't target. So you can do some really crazy stuff, and unfortunately, I won't get to play it. But I had been thinking on it for a while.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. I like the idea of those like the Unhinged Cup. I thought that was so cool. I was following
Yeah.
along with it. I don't play online. Like I might get more into it. I just test online, but I mostly just want to play because I want to play on paper.
I am actually like it's like this odd duality with me. I feel like I've done well enough. I can finally say this. I feel like I'm really good in paper, but I feel like I am so bad when it comes to playing on Dueling Book. And I don't know if it's because I'm like very ADHD. It's hard for me to focus on a screen or what it is, but like my like results when it comes from IRL to Dueling Book, the correlation is not there, and that's something that I would really like to work on eventually. It's just having more focus.
100%. It's a big difference. People think it's the same game online, but it is not the same game when you play online. Because when you play with somebody on paper, like Justin was saying when he's judging, you can tell based on people's body language, their facial expressions. You can make reads. You can pick up on when they're bluffing, their tells. It's almost like playing poker when you're playing in person with somebody. You're sitting across from the table and you're like, oh, yeah, that wasn't a Sakaretsu armor they just set. That was a knock. Because, I'm not setting any cards and they've been going for like 5 turns now and they're just setting stuff to save their life points in the hopes that I'm not going to attack into them. But online, it's harder. You can't track cards. You can't look at their hand and like track which card they're, hand shuffling with, and totally different.
Yeah, most definitely. I pick IRL every time, and I think that just comes from a place of like that was just how I've always played. And then obviously with the pandemic in 2020, just not being able to actually go and play, it's just something that I really missed out on a lot. So yeah, I always enjoy IRL.
That's the reason why we travel so much too, is because we sit at home for 2 years. And
Yeah,
then once like RL picked back up, me and Boyd was at locals every week. That's where we met at, and in person. And then like we were just like, look,
yeah, we actually met on Grindr.
I was looking for Rel, my dad, but I couldn't find him.
That was
So
on my
OnlyFans. You found me.
Get Rel, my dad.
Yeah.
What do you know? Somebody's username.
I wish that I'd actually kept up with just how many tournaments we went to last year, because it was like it's actually just too many to count. It was like the Philly trip. I can't tell you how many Switch tournaments we went to, like nationals, and I went to a couple Switch tournaments in Jonesville in the summer. Actually, won a Switch with Frog Monarch there,
Sick.
and just like I don't know, it was something actually every single weekend that Justin and I were like, okay, who's driving this week? Where are we going? You know, what deck
I
are we
wish I
playing?
was into it back then. I wish I started a year ago because I started Goat because it was literally just like tossing a coin. I was like, oh, I don't know which one to pick. And Goat, I just looked at the paper price and I was like, oh, it's like $10 cheaper for a Goat deck. So I'll start with that.
Yeah, yeah,
And it's been fun. Like, I definitely still love Goat, but like if I started Edison a year ago, I probably would have caught up with you guys a little bit sooner. Could have had, another year of experience under my belt, maybe won a Switch
yeah.
or topped and got some cash or something.
Yeah, knowing what I know now about Yu-Gi-Oh, I'll do anything I can to help you like improve because like and I've talked about this on podcast episodes before. I thought this was something that was like you had this group of like elite players that were just naturally just gifted players. They were just naturally good, and I think that is the case for some people. But it's like if you just put in the work and the time, like you'll catch up to them eventually, and you'll pass them. But it's like I'm working with our teammate Austin Wood right now, and I don't feel like he'll mind me saying this because I'm basically bragging on him. His mentality towards the game was awful, and I was able to recognize that because I had the exact same mentality a little over a year ago, where it was just like, I'd brick with Black Wings and say this deck sucks, this deck's terrible, people that play this cheat, and he had a similar mentality. And I'm just like, I look back now, and I'm like, bro, how was I ever that stupid? How was I ever that dumb to think that? And it was just like taking accountability for things and saying like I probably just didn't play the hand the best I could. Did I really brick or did I just play stupid? And it's just stuff like that. And playing against all the decks, learning the interactions, making I think sometimes it's hard to make meta calls in Edison, but if you can make meta calls, that helps. But I've been working with him a lot, and he sends me replays every day, he sends me deck lists every day, sends me voice messages every day talking about theory. The man a month and a half ago would not even consider playing Christia Sworn because he played Christia Sworn the same time I did over a year ago. And we both bombed the same tournament, and he threw the deck down, said he'd never touch it again. So at this 3v3 that we went to at Big Boy Gaming, I won all of my rounds, and I was, talking to him about the deck, and he said he would never touch it again. It was terrible. And now I think that he's actually considering playing that deck in the future. So he's had a really big change in the way he thinks about the game. And I think that's like the step in the right direction. Like that's a real winner's mentality. And I think that you have the same mentality like already, which is really, really good.
Yeah, and I get it at first, like when you're getting into a new format or you're first learning like what decks do what, getting a little bit salty about it because you
Yes.
think you're just getting unlucky. Like you might just be getting unlucky because like Fraser says all the time, if you win something, you're probably good, but definitely lucky. So
Yeah.
it's 100% true. And if you start off and you're getting a really unlucky streak and you start getting tilted, it's hard to like reset from that.
It is. It is.
That's
And
funny because like, Boyd, you were so against Christia Sworn.
I
Like when I
was,
started
dude.
playing it, dude, and I remember I topped the side deck tournament with it. And I just don't think you knew what to think. like
I didn't.
like
I didn't. I didn't.
And then
Bro,
like
when I tell you that when I first started playing the deck, I could not beat literally anyone. I couldn't win a game. I think I actually lost every game that I played at the Philadelphia tournament. I think I lost every game. And that was like inability to take accountability because I was like, this deck sucks. I was like, James Ark's a cheater. I was so mad. I was so just irritated. And, I literally threw the deck down. I sold my Secret Christias, my Ulti Heralds, which didn't age well, by the way. Definitely should have held on to those. But went back to pure Lightsworn. And then I just said that was just the best Lightsworn build for forever. And it had nothing to do with any of that. I was just bad. That's all it boiled down to. I was just really bad and didn't know anything about like the fundamental level of the game at all. Nothing.
Yeah, it's hard to pick up a deck that either takes like a really, really skilled pilot or you think that a certain deck is just, A tier or like S tier or whatever, and you're like, oh, I'll just play it and it will pilot itself and I'll just auto win. But
Yeah.
it just doesn't work like that. Like when I first started playing Goat, when was Nats last year
It
in
This is
was
Raleigh?
the
July.
weekend
This is
of like July 16th. I know that because it's like always near my birthday.
Okay, I had only been into Goat for like a few months at that time, like maybe 3 or 4 months, and I was playing my favorite deck, which is still my favorite deck to this day, Chaos Control, which is like a tier 2 deck. Like there's many other decks that are a lot better than that, but I won my first pod with it. I got a mat. I got into the finals of my second pod with it, and I beat Chaos Turbo like the entire time, and I was like, "Oh, that's kind of crazy." Uh, it must have just been people playing Chaos Turbo because they think, oh, it's just the best. If I play it, I'll just win with it automatically. But
Yeah.
it doesn't always work like that. Like Rogue wins a lot. You got to be a skilled pilot. You got to be good at reading people. You got to be able to tell bluffs. And
Yeah. That's
I think that's
something
just the
that
best part.
I'm so like not looking forward to with like learning goat is like this sounds so bad and I never thought I'd have this mentality. I I'm going to be so sad to going back to losing because now I'm just like so like I want to win every
You
game.
can't. Don't do it.
I'm like I want to win every game. I never want to lose a game and I never thought I would be there. And it's not like a toxic thing, but I'm just like I know where I'm at in Yu-Gi-Oh now, so whenever there's like something new, like I kind of felt the same way about Tengu, and I still don't think I'm good at Tengu. Like full disclaimer, I really need to do some Tengu practice, but I feel like it'll kind of be the same way with Goat. I'll probably end up getting very frustrated along the way, but it'll end up being worth it in the end. I mean,
You
it
just
always
got to
is.
so.
stick to it. But
Listen,
feeling the pressure on yourself to get good at something is like the first step to not sucking at it. So it's
Yes.
100% a good mentality. Even if
yeah.
you get a little bit tilted, as long as you stick with it and you're like, okay, I got to keep trying. I know I just got 2-0'd by 5 people in a row. Next time I'll get them.
Wouldn't
My
be the first time.
my turning point was in a B-Dubs parking lot when Fraser Smith told me to stop.
Yeah, tell the stories. Tell the whole story. I love
Dude,
this story.
so we went to Philly for this PS5 tournament, right? And
This was actually at BBG.
you're right, yeah, you're right. It was a BBG
Yeah,
tournament.
BBG 2K.
Okay, yeah. So I took Swedish Black Wings, which is like the bill with like 3 value and 2 grepher, and it's a lot of normal summons, but it's a powerful deck. And I took it there, just did horribly match after match. I was making horrible plays, and we're in a B-Dubs parking lot, and Fraser Smith, we're talking to them, and he's like, "Look, it's not the deck, it's you." And he's like, "That's a really good deck." It's just like you suck pretty much. And then like the rest of the day was bad too because like they didn't have the food or the beer that I wanted. That's a whole other story. But anyways, I took it to heart, man, and just got better. And so now like it's funny too because I was judging the 5K, and Frazier was like, I think I forget which round he just lost, but I walked up to him. I was like, Frazier, don't worry, man. It's not the deck, it's you.
That was hilarious. I was sitting there, and that was
He
so
like looked at
funny.
me. He looked at me for a second, then I guess he just remembered having that interaction with me, and then he just like started laughing. But
he
he's a genuine dude, man.
I shared an episode of the podcast one time that we were talking about like probably a few weeks after that, and you were like, "Yeah, we talked to Frazier. He didn't say anything mean to me this time," and he commented on it and said like he didn't say anything mean to me this time, and I thought that was so hilarious.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I made a meme, and it was like Pro Hogan with Black Wings, and someone was telling him, "Don't worry, it's not the deck, it's you."
No, it's
And
not the
then
deck, it's you. I find myself saying that to people now. Like, yet again, our teammate Austin Wood he's been like a Dragon Turbo main for his whole Edison run, and he was like, I don't know how people like Hydro Pump and Ghost Rider do so well with this, and I can't. And I was like, it's not the deck, it's you. And it's like such a harsh reality, but it's like a good truth to like just be aware
dude,
of.
But it
Yep.
is. And something I step back and I noticed it's little things that people told me. Like you told me some stuff, Madison told me some stuff. And it's like looking back over time, it's like I was playing way too quickly. I wasn't taking the time to read the field. I was like overcommitting during certain plays, and I wasn't paying attention to like the game state. And now
Yeah.
like I found a play style and a deck that I love playing, and I found a lot of success with it. So like I think that's it's like you said, stick with the deck and just stick with it. Like you enjoy playing and just like go from there. And my
Yeah.
problem was I would get bored off playing one deck and then like, oh, this deck sucks. Pick up another deck. Well, this deck sucks, and it was just really me the whole time.
Yeah.
And it's cool too because like I borrowed Black Wings from Butcher, took him to the Switch tournament, got second place, and hadn't played that deck in forever. And it's like, wow, dude. It's like when you sit back and think, it's like, okay, like that's really cool because that just tells me that like if I just put effort into this, I can pick up any deck and do decent with it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. If you haven't listened to my podcast on getting better and watched the videos I've made on getting better, definitely need to go check those out. It's a lot of free information in there that I've just kind of compiled over the last year. So
Yeah,
if
go
you're
listen to
new,
it. Anybody who's
it's
listening to this right now, go listen to it. I've sent that link to people before I was even on the team. I was like, dude, you want to get better or you're going to get into Edison? Watch this video. Trust me.
yeah.
It sounds like
Do
an
people seem to
infomercial
like
for
that?
like.
Yes, 100%. And I'll give them like the TLDR, like the big points that I love from that is stop changing the game state. That's like my favorite one. Pick one
Yeah.
deck, A tier or higher, stick with it, get good at it, make your opponent change the game state. Those are like the two biggest takeaways I think I get from that.
Yeah.
They'll see
Yeah.
what I'm talking about when they watch the video.
Absolutely. Those are good points.
There's a lot more. There's a lot more.
Justin, you were about to say something. What were you about to say?
Oh, I just was saying that like y'all's interactions sounded like an infomercial for like one of those like get rich quick scheme books. It's like, trust me, get this book. It's a New York Times bestseller. You're going to love it. I started off with $7 in my
This
pocket.
is Michael Boyd here with the Edison Club. Do you want to get good at Yu-Gi-Oh? One simple video with a subscription
watch
of
the Edison Club.
$19.99.
Patrick Hobo.
Patrick Hobo.
We'll
4
call
easy
it-
payments of $19.99.
Road.
You too can be a Yu-Gi-Oh champion.
We'll call it Road to the Ultimate Time Wizard, and we'll put elephants on the cover for whatever reason.
Hell
Put
yeah.
elephant, yeah. I have that book on my desk, and that's definitely, now that you bring that up, you should definitely read this book as well if you're trying to get better. Some of this stuff doesn't apply as well to Edison because it's like some of this stuff talks about like starter cards and extender cards, and I think as the game progressed past Edison, that those cards, the way that you assign roles to cards throughout your deck changes a lot. But I think like a lot of your cards in Edison oftentimes serve like a lot of different roles, but it still like teaches you a lot of the principles of Yu-Gi-Oh. So check out Patrick Hoban's book.
Yeah. Hey, am I allowed to plug another channel?
You sure can.
Okay. If nobody wants to read the book, it's a great book. I read it myself a long time ago, but Rev Games on YouTube, R3V, he's doing like a chapter by chapter analysis of the book, and it's
Oh,
really
that's
good.
cool.
This guy's like great at data and like breaking things down and like kind of giving the layman's terms for everything that's in the chapters of the book, like defining card rules and like knowing when to make certain reads and blah blah blah. So definitely check him out
That's really
and
cool.
read the book. Do both. Read the book
Yeah.
too. But
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. At one time I wanted to do an audiobook reading of this book, and I learned that I am not very good at pronouncing words I don't know. So there was a lot of like me just butchering words when I was only like 15 pages in. I was like, yeah, this isn't for me. We'll leave this to the professionals. I'm like having to sound out
You're a
words.
Yu-Gi-Oh player. None of
I'm
us
not
know
used
how
to
read.
reading.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm not
You
used
should
to
just
reading.
play the audiobook on the podcast.
That's
I
true.
couldn't do an audiobook because I would mispronounce Tragodia or something like that, and I get flamed in the comments.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, I remember trying to say that thing's name as a kid, and I was just like, what? How do I don't even know what this is. How do I say this name? There were a lot of card names like that when you were a kid. You're just like, what even does this mean?
You know it's a good one? Sasuke Samurai #2.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm throwing you right under the bus.
Freaking,
Didn't you ever watch Naruto?
I did.
I love Naruto, dude. I've read it all, watched it all.
I
Do you
never
say
got
Sasuke
that
or do you
far.
say Sasuke?
Dude, it's Sasuke, man.
I know.
Like,
Come on, Boyd.
I say
okay,
Suzuki.
this is like a little off topic, but like there's a YouTuber, and he's like pretty big, does market watches, and So like, boy, you know the card Ecclesia, right?
Yeah,
Okay, so the evil version would be Cartesia, right?
right.
Okay. He calls it Cartesia,
Oh,
but
Cartesia.
I'm just like, dude, yeah, like the other day on Market Watch, he was like talking about, yeah, the price of Cartesia, and I'm like, dude, literally, it's in the same lore. You just said the other card's name a minute ago, and you can't tell me you
Cartesia.
can't put two and two together and say that Esia is like the pronunciation. It's like Tessia. Like, I just it
And
ruined the video for me.
another one I
they're
struggled
trying. They're
with
trying.
was Anteater Eating Ant. That card. You know what card I'm talking about? Anteater Eating
Oh
Ant.
yes, screw
Yeah.
that card.
And then Super Planetary Purpley Thorny Dragon. Try saying that one.
Why did they have to go that far? Come on.
I know. They went too far.
We
They
can
went
only
full
handle
send.
like a few words at a time.
Yeah, there were a lot of cards like that I couldn't say when I was a kid. There are a lot of cards I probably don't say correctly now, like Sasuke Samurai.
Sorry about that.
It's okay. It's all right. It's funny. Okay, well, we're about 40 minutes here. So, what do you guys want to talk about? Like the last 15 minutes of this, we've covered like a lot of our Edison stories and what our plans for the future are. So, any suggestions?
Okay, so Nick, you're playing the Ultimate Time Wizard. This is your first Ultimate Time Wizard, right?
This will be my first main event Ultimate Time
Okay.
Wizard. I've only played side events.
So going on a rant, they should have announced it by now what it's going to be for those.
Oh my
people that
god,
are
tell
like,
me about it.
dude, I know Boyd posted a little video about it, but for those like that haven't watched it yet,
Don't even get me
they,
started.
dude. Okay, so first off, like,
You're gonna trigger Boyd. Stop.
okay, here's what gets me right. Like, if it's any other format outside of Edison, because I will say a lot of people have Edison decks by this point already, right? But Tengu is still relatively like newer, so I feel like they can't announce anything other than Edison because people won't. They literally will not have the time to order cards for Tengu or Goat or whatever it may be. And this whole like, I don't know if they're just assuming that we're going to know what it is, but just announcing 2 weeks or sometimes less before the tournament, like hotels are selling out, dude. Plane tickets are getting more expensive. People literally need to know this kind of stuff. And to me, like it's not hard to be like, we're playing Edison, we're playing Tangy, we're playing Goat. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there were a couple guys that commented on my video, like when I shared it to my Facebook, and said that it was in the FAQ section that it was going to be Edison, but I couldn't find it. I don't know if that's because I'm a Yu-Gi-Oh player and I
Okay.
don't read, but also
But
too, but
who
who
looks in the
reads
fact
the
section?
FAQ?
Yeah, nobody. How about
Okay,
putting it in the title or the announcement?
not even that. Why would they wait till a week or two before they post registration?
Yeah,
Imagine booking a hotel, and I'm not saying this is going to happen because it most likely won't, but booking a hotel and booking travel plans for you to go to register and like there's a glitch or something and you don't make it in time, or now you've registered for this event where you only play the one format for the Time Wizard, you can't get into it now.
yeah, yeah. This
So
is
that's got
I
me
mentioned
frustrated
that
too.
in the video, but like I feel like Konami in a lot of ways is like treating this just like any regular old side event. Like it's not speed duel or giant card or regional qualifier or whatever. Like this is like a whole other separate community of Yu-Gi-Oh that exclusively plays these formats. So people fly and drive for this quote unquote side event that it's like treated as. And I just feel like they should be informed of that. Like you shouldn't have to read like an FAQ or anything like that. Like in the past, they've been very slow to post it, but they would post like, you know, what the format was, you know, it'd be a Facebook post, whatever. And I guess we'll probably still get that about a week beforehand. But the side deck did comment on a Facebook post that they posted and said that it would be Edison format. So if you're listening to this, it is Edison format. I'm sorry that we have to do what am I trying to say? We have to do like investigational journalism to be able to figure out the format.
This is how everyone's gonna find out that it's Edison. So good thing you guys are listening to the Edison Club because you heard it here first. It's Edison format.
Yeah, and if it ends up being Goat format or Tengu format, then blame the side deck, not me. I'm just the messenger. Don't shoot the messenger.
Yeah,
but
I think we can chalk it up to a gross oversight because they probably just assumed oh yeah, it's Ultimate Time Wizard. Everybody knows it's Edison, but
Yeah.
we don't because people play other retro formats. So
Yeah. I feel like at this point with like how the internet is and Discord and all this stuff, like Konami has to have scouts out there that like study this kind of stuff to like gauge interest. And they have to know that North Carolina is like the place for Edison. Like North Carolina, like all the surrounding states, like on the East Coast, it's just like the big part of the Edison community. So they have to know that. Or at least I hope so.
yeah, people literally fly like when we went to the big boy gaming, not the 3v3 but the 2K, the cash tournament. I saw people that flew in from Canada, like AJTBLS was there, Mercenary flew in from Texas, James Ark flew down from New York, Fraser was there from, I think he's from Pennsylvania, right? Like
Yeah.
literally over 100 people flew from all over the country just to play Edison. So they're 100% going to be doing the same thing for a YCS.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. My other rant about that too is like I wish that Konami would do like better rules for the Ultimate Time Wizard, because you basically have to go X1 to even guarantee that you'll make it into like the
Mhm.
top 8, cuz like they basically said like no matter how many people it is, it'll always be top 8 unless it's smaller for some reason. So like if, let's just say like hypothetically, like if 1,500 people entered an Ultimate Time Wizard side event, you could be X1 and not even make top 8 with that many people. So they definitely need to like revisit the rules on that. And I mean, if it's like they only have enough people to do top 8, then it is what it is. But they have enough to do top 16, then they should definitely do that.
Mhm. For sure.
But I think it's important to acknowledge that at least Konami has acknowledged our like little niche within a niche community that we have, and at least we're getting some kind of recognition and actual like sanctioned gameplay at Konami and stuff like that for Edison. So I mean that's pretty cool. Hope that
So
they'll keep
Yeah,
improving
we'll
on
take
it.
it.
so going back to this being like your first, is this your first like main event in general, Nick?
Um, yeah, actually, I think I've never really brought like I've played advanced format up until I started playing Goat like just over a year ago. Quit advanced format. Never got to enter a YCS. I entered an ARG a long time ago. Remember those?
Yeah.
Yeah,
In like
Pepperidge Farm
2012.
remembers.
Yeah. That's the biggest thing I ever entered was an ARG in Worcester, Massachusetts, and I was playing Evil Swarm. I got to play like 2 rounds, and then I was with my cousin, and we carpooled together. And our boss called him into work, and he had no choice but to go. So we both dropped, and we had to leave.
So
Oh no.
are you traveling with some friends, or are you going by yourself, or what?
For this one right here,
Yeah.
I'm going to Sam Kerrigan.
No.
I
Well, he
think you
plays.
do know him, but you probably just like don't like know him, if you know what I
Oh,
mean.
okay.
You've
Okay.
definitely played against him at Easy before.
Yeah,
Okay.
so he goes to Easy. We play Goat every Saturday. Him, Miller, and Josh Dice. We all traveled to his parents' house in Nightdale, like right next to Raleigh, last time for Nats. So we're just gonna do that again this year. And I just talked to him the other day about the BBG the night before, and I said, "Hey, it's a $500 cash tournament if you want to play some Edison." And he goes, "I can be convinced." So I think we'll
Uh-huh.
end up going Friday night, probably doing the cash tournament, and then we'll do the. I'm gonna be doing the main event, Ultimate Time Wizard, and him and the rest of the guys are probably just gonna do side flights of Goat or Edison.
It's gonna be so much fun. I'm really excited for this YCS. I feel like I don't know. I love the BBG events. BBG is gracious enough to sponsor me as a player, and I love it. But it's like the Konami events just being like so like larger than life, if that makes any sense. Like you just got thousands of players in the room. It's like, no matter who they are, what they do, whatever, you have like this one thing in common with everybody in this room. I've always thought that was really cool.
It is cool. It's a crazy feeling. Like
Yeah.
going to Nats too. Like that was my first like YCS. Like I'm sure it was a lot bigger than a YCS, obviously, because it was Nats. But it was right in Raleigh, and I was like, "Oh, that's like an hour and a half drive. Let's go!" And we went, and
Yeah.
it was insane. I was like, oh my god, the amount of nerds in the same room as me that love the same game as me. This is amazing.
North Carolina has been very lucky in the past couple years as far as like just getting events like that, because like we got YCS Charlotte in like 2014 or 2013, 2012, and we didn't get
Mhm.
an event like that of that stature for a long time. And then when they announced it was when the pandemic hit, so we had to wait like 2 more years for YCS, and then we had it in Raleigh, and then they had Nats in Raleigh, which was super cool, and now we're having YCS Raleigh again. So
Mm. You know what's funny, Justin? I just remembered when BBG held the 2K a few months ago. I didn't enter in the main event because that was literally like the second time I ever played Edison. The first time I played, it was in a PS5 tournament at Easy Gaming, and I went like 2-2, I think, or 3-2. Not too great. Um, but we went to Big Boy Gaming for the side events because they said, oh, there's going to be a main Edison event for $2,000 cash, and then there will be side events for Edison and side events for Goat. And I was like, oh, sick, Goat, my favorite. So I brought my Goat deck and I brought my Edison deck just in case. I was like, we'll see. I don't know if enough people are going to play Goat. And I showed up, signed up for Goat, and I think there were like 2 other people that signed up. And I was like, Diego, I already paid for Goat. Can you just transfer my name to the Edison side event? And he's like, oh, yeah, no problem, no problem. So he crossed everybody off the Goat list because there weren't enough to fire, put
yeah,
us in the Edison event. We played the side event, and I got third. And that was the second time I ever played Edison.
yeah, that is awesome. That's,
So
Wait,
that
I
was
mean,
fun.
that's pretty
all of my
good,
first experiences with Edison, I bombed every tournament I played in, so that's really good.
dude.
What,
It was
Justin?
good, like
I'm,
validation.
Yeah.
oh, I thought you were going to say that like you never got your money back, and I was like, let me see what I can do. I was
No, I
like,
won.
but
I think it was a $20 entry, but I won 40. So I was like, oh, I got my money back,
dude,
and I made $20. Okay, this was pretty cool. I like that.
let me tell you something, dude. Every time I go to a tournament now, and like if I lose one of the early rounds, I know I'm going to do good. I know that sounds bad, but like the last few Switch tournaments that I've topped, like I have lost like the first or second round and went on the top. And the same thing with like the Tengu. I lost like one of the early rounds and then went on to get second place.
Yeah.
So like I'm like, if I don't lose early, then I'm like something's wrong.
You know
Yeah.
why people? What do they call that? Bracket luck. Like there's something about if you lose early, you're in the losers bracket. So like it might be slightly easier opponents or something. I'm not
Yeah,
exactly
because
sure
like your
how it
next
works. I've
round
never run a tournament, but
you'll play against people that also lost most of the time. Sometimes, I mean, pair downs do exist, but
It makes it worse to an extent too because like, or if you lose early on, like there's a good chance you could have played like just a bad player. And
yeah,
if you lose later on in the tournament, you lost to a good player, obviously. So like it's your tiebreakers. Like you have a harder chance of getting a good tiebreaker losing early on. I feel like, and it just so happened at the Tango tournament that I lost to the guy that ended up getting first place, and I happened to play him like early on in the tournament.
yeah,
So like that's where I got lucky. And the same thing with the Swiss tournament. I played against Chase. I played him round one. I lost to Black Wings, and then just won out until the
yeah.
final. So like I was like, ugh. But it just you get really really lucky. Yes.
I'm still so proud of like Justin and myself for doing so well at our first Tengu tournament. Like, I did not expect to make top in that tournament whatsoever. I went, the bar was on the floor with my expectations for that tournament. I'll just be fair with you.
Gravekeepers, right?
Okay.
Yeah, yep,
I want to say like I didn't expect to do great, but like okay, I can't say I didn't expect. I like had like really high hopes because I've been grinding Tengu on dual book for like 2 to 3 months, dude.
yeah.
And when I first got wind there was going to be a Tengu tournament, like I was just playing Tengu nonstop. So I
I
was like, man,
played
I'm
three
just not gonna do
matches. I played 3 matches of Tengu, and that was all I
good.
played
You were so
because
against Tengu at first.
I was because I felt like I had finally got good at Edison, and everyone was just gonna hang the gloves up and go on to a Tengu format, and I was so upset. Thankfully, that didn't end up happening.
Man,
But
that
I
man's
got
like, oh
married in
man.
January, went on my honeymoon in January. I had literally no time to test Tengu
This,
at all. So like,
this man's like, how am I ever going to learn a format that's a year apart from each other? It's like whatever, dude.
How
Shut
did
up.
you do it? Add solemn morning.
add solemn warning, add recruiter, and then
Oh,
you
and Max
just
C, right?
and Wonder Wand. Yeah, grapekeepers are insane. Uh, and I'm not a trap player. I pride myself on not being a trap player.
Hey,
I'm not a trap
I
player.
resent that. I love traps.
but I do love gravekeepers, so I have to play gravekeepers in Tengu format.
I haven't started playing Tengu yet, but I'm open to it. Now that I know I've settled in, I'm like, okay, I'm pretty good at Goat. I'm getting my bearings on Edison. I think I'm okay at Edison. At least if I get a Tengu deck, I can just have one available if there's an event or you guys want to test or play or whatever. Because
Yeah,
anything's better than advanced format.
I agree 100%. Nothing against Justin. Nothing
Sorry,
against Justin. I wish Justin the best of luck
Offense.
in his advanced tournament run.
Oh, dude, like I've been practicing nonstop. Like I don't want to say I'm going to do bad because like I'm really hoping I do good. Like if I make it to day 2, man, that's a celebration on its own.
Yes,
'Cause I'm playing
if you make day 2, it's like cut top 32, right?
top 64.
Okay. If you get 64th place, I will be so proud of you. Like,
Bro,
I'll just be so proud of you. And then like
dude.
you would play, if 64th would play first, and then if you beat who was in first, it would be even better.
Bro, like that would. I think that's how it goes. I don't know. I'm just like,
Yeah, I'm pretty
mean-
sure it should scale down. Like 64th would play first, 63rd play second, and just from there. I'm pretty sure that's how that works.
dude. This is a little bit off topic, but I was watching a hero feature match. This is a while back from one of the YCS or Nats last year.
Yeah,
When the guy got like 32nd place at Heroes. Remember that?
Oh yeah,
I do remember that.
Christmas.
Bro, he summoned absolute zero, and Billy Brake was like, "What is this, Edison? Is this Edison format?"
Hey man,
Yeah.
AZ is still good even in advance. That card's still broken.
I hope you're playing it.
And like, I'll be honest with you, but wait, I had to drop out, dude, so that way you can talk. I'm just
What happened to you? You sound like you're underwater now.
no. I said I had to drop out so you could talk, but wait.
Oh.
Oh, I thought you said you had to drop a deuce.
I'm joking.
Yeah, I did too. I was like, this man's like hole in the bathroom, like whole ass in the bathroom, pants down.
No, secret. Secret. I am in the bathroom taking a bath. I always do my podcast in the bath. You know this.
Okay, I didn't need to know that. So
I'm just learning that right now.
You literally was like last time. You're like, "Are you in the bath?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Like, it's just
Wait, hold on. So are you actually in the bathtub?
bro.
Oh my god, I hear the water.
Dude, I wish I
Ew.
knew. We could have been synced up. I would be in my bathtub too.
I'm not gonna
This
lie,
is-
dude. I get a little bit scared every time you call in for the chat because I'm afraid my video is gonna pop up.
Oh my god. Now literally this is like 24 episodes in and I'm just learning this.
You're like, look, here's little D. Like you'd have to Photoshop
What the heck,
a
dude?
little D card on me.
What the
Justin's
heck? Okay,
taken
quick.
at least 24 baths as a grown adult. Everybody
Dude,
take note.
Listen, baths are
I like
relaxing,
baths.
dude. Baths are relaxing.
Dude, when you come home, like, so I do upholstery and our shop, we do have heat. We have a wood stove. We don't have air conditioning, but we do have heat. But like, if you're not close to it, it's still pretty cold. So in the winter, when I get home and it's been like 30 degrees all day, I just get in the bathtub, crank that thing up like super hot, like melt your skin off hot. And it is so nice, dude.
It's been
I've
a
never
while
thought
since
about-
I've had a bath, so I can't even talk shit. Oh,
I've
am I
never,
supposed to
like,
swear?
Thought of, yeah, you're good. You're good. I've never even thought about hosting my podcast from the bathtub.
I
You feel
think
like-
I think the next episode is probably the
Let's
inaugural
have-
bathtub episode.
Oh, what if we all host from the bathtub of the YCS?
That should be the
This-
thumbnail.
The same bathtub.
listen, boy to the group chat was like, out of nowhere, I requested bed with Justin. I guess because I don't snore as loud as the others.
Sure, we'll go with that.
Oh my god.
You
Dude,
don't remember? He's trying to deny it now. He's like, I never said that.
I never said
I
that.
I just realized what the thumbnail should be for this this video when it goes up. You know the picture of the guy's legs in the bathtub with the Bush's baked beans and the
Oh my
candles on the
God.
side.
I love that. Sometimes
Oh my
I will
God.
actually randomly send that to everyone in my Snapchat.
I know.
And the
You sent
people,
it to me.
There's some people that don't respond. I'm just
Dude,
like,
I
man,
saved
they
that.
think that's serious, and it's so funny.
I saved it and immediately sent it to like 6 people.
Oh, have you ever done the thing where you take your camera and you like fold your forearm up so it looks like a butt?
Oh yeah, just did that the other day.
Did you?
Yeah, we were trying to trick my father-in-law with a close-up picture, and it was
Yeah.
actually my thighs really close together. And he goes, "Oh, why'd you send me a picture of Nick's ass?"
That's
And then she
so-
zoomed out, and it was just my thighs.
That is so hilarious. Okay, well, I guess we're going to get out of here. We just passed an hour, so we learned a lot. You know, we learned a lot about improving at Yu-Gi-Oh! Gave you some plugs, talked about upcoming tournaments, and talked about Justin being in the bathtub. So, quite the eventful episode. Any closing
Yeah, we
statements
ended
from
on a high
anyone?
note. Thanks, Justin.
Yeah. I just want to see a thumbnail of like me in the bath, like the US alias in the bath.
Hey, I can make that happen.
You could.
Yep, just make sure you send your pictures right to
Actually,
the group
do,
chat.
do Bubble Man. I'll send a picture later. I'll come up with something.
Oh, hell yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you all for listening. This is Mike, Justin, and Nick from the Edison Club signing out until the next one.